we start with questions, I just want to address, what's going on with AT. I think first and foremost, it's absolutely unacceptable. I think as a league, as a whole, there's been so much more toxicity, racism, homophobia, straight out like nonsense, hate nonsense. And it is absolutely
unacceptable. Pay close attention to her body language. Observe her posture. Before a single question is asked, observe what she decides to discuss. That's Stephanie White, the Indiana Fever's new head coach, who just made it very evident what her top priorities are. Spoiler alert, the player that tripled this league's audience is not worth defending. She's already defensive about Alyssa Thomas before we even start asking questions, not about Caitlin Clark, who recently suffered an injury, or the athlete on her own team who is constantly being targeted physically. No, she's embracing her former Connecticut player. There is a rift in this league that extends far beyond basketball, as seen by the outrageous optics.
We don't care about your agenda, and now that we are watching, we can be vocal about that. That is our right. Plain and simple. Whether you like it or not, whether you want to cry or not, whether you and the Indiana Fever and the WNBA want to try to stop people like me from talking, yeah, you've got a whole different section of fans that you have not.
With an average of 400,000 viewers every game, there it is, the boxes, the checklist, the identity politics that have characterized this league for 20 years. She's essentially saying that you're not welcome if you don't agree with their social activity, don't support their causes, or are simply here to watch basketball. Consider what she just stated. Rather than saying, we appreciate all our fans, let's focus on basketball, she is drawing a line in the sand. She acknowledged that the majority of the toxicity is coming from new fans who came because of Caitlin Clark, and new fans who tripled the ratings. In essence, she is saying, we don't want you now if you haven't been here supporting our activism for the past 20 years. The irony is simply astounding. For decades, this league has been losing money. The NBA has provided them with millions of dollars in annual subsidies just to keep the doors open. When someone generates real viewership, revenue, or mainstream attention, the reaction is, well, not those fans, not if they don't check our boxes.
And teams, that is going to come. But it's not hard to not be a jerk. And if you are one of these people that are online doing this, do not call yourself a WNBA fan. Our league is about inclusiveness. Our league is about competition. Our league is about elevating women.
We're checking all the boxes we can possibly check here, folks.
Elevating marginalized communities, including and
I don't want to hear about none of that. I don't care about none of that. I want to see Caitlin Clark play basketball. End of story. I don't want to be preached to. No, I'm not going away. We're not going away.
Pay attention to the words she uses. Being at the vanguard of social norms, elevating women, and uplifting neglected populations. It's a basketball league. She is speaking as though she is in charge of a social justice nonprofit or political organization, but this is supposed to be professional athletics. This is the issue that no one in the mainstream sports media wants to talk about. The new admirers she speaks of, the ones generating those unprecedented numbers? The Midwest is home to several of them. Many of them come from red states. A lot of them hold conservative values. And a lot of them are Christians who might not align with every single social concern the WNBA has decided to embrace. Fox News had Caitlin Clark's back while she was getting targeted. Conservative outlets were the ones calling out the double standards. Meanwhile, the traditional sports media that regularly covers the WNBA was conspicuously quiet. ABC's Good Morning America was out there coddling Alyssa Thomas this morning, not checking on whether Caitlin Clark is okay after getting wounded. Do you want to know why it took this league 25 years to make a breakthrough? This is why, because they've made it quite apparent that basketball is secondary to activism. And most sports fans, regardless of their political inclinations, tune in to watch sports, not to be lectured about social issues.
You can't force people to go away. We know your lifestyle. We don't care about it. We don't want it shoved in our face.
Being inclusive of all different walks of life. That is what our league has always been about from day one.
You got 2/3 new fans. If they cared about that crap, They would have been tuned in for the last 20 years. Once again, we're back to, if you haven't always been a fan, we don't want you as a fan. This league is wild. It is wild.
Is what our league will continue to be about. And we will continue to compete at a high level, hold ourselves to a higher standard, continue to be on the forefront of social norms, and we will continue to support one another collectively.
That right there is the mission statement. That's the WNBA revealing their true identity to you. Inclusiveness, but only if you concur with them. Women are being elevated, but it doesn't seem like the woman is boosting the league as a whole. Collectively supporting one another, with the exception of defending your own star player from being violently attacked game after game. There is a striking cognitive dissonance. She talks about inclusivity while reminding 2/3 of her new audience that if they don't support the movement, they aren't true followers. She talks about empowering women, but she won't publicly stand behind the lady on her own roster who is subjected to ongoing scrutiny and physical play that would raise red flags in any other situation. And notice how she frames the criticism. Anyone who opposes the activism is being rude. Toxicity is being transmitted by everyone who simply wants to watch basketball without the political agenda. The possibility that some people have good reasons for wanting sports and politics to be kept apart is not acknowledged. For months, Sophie Cunningham has had to cope with real racial comments on the internet. She has experienced physical stalking. Then, where was this fervent defense? When someone who doesn't match the chosen narrative was the target of internet hate, where was the news conference about shielding players from it? The double standard is so clear it's almost impressive. After Alyssa Thomas receives criticism for both her play and her remarks, it becomes a league-wide issue that needs to be addressed by the head coach of another team before any questions are asked. However, Caitlin Clark is frequently targeted, has her hips probed, and has her eyes poked. The answer is essentially, that's just basketball. Take care of it. I have nothing more to say.
And it's just absolutely unacceptable.
Okay, so there you have it. Congratulations, folks. She preached to you. They preached to you. They basically said, the new fans, she said, the new fans, we don't want you. How does she feel knowing, I'm going to keep it real, and God dang it, I don't want to get political on this channel, but when she goes into her politics, her identity politics, it forces me to. You don't want conservative fans watching your league.
But I can tell you, baby, the state of Indiana is red. Iowa, where Caitlin Clark became a phenomenon, is a red state. The Midwest, where her audience is biggest, leans conservative. These are the fans who turned out in record numbers to see her perform. These are facts, not political remarks. However, Stephanie White just informed them that unless they support the entire social agenda, they are not welcome. She is putting her ideals ahead of the bottom line. She's putting her former player over her current star, and she's prioritizing advocacy over winning basketball games. Consider this from a business standpoint. For 25 years, your major sports league has been losing money. Abruptly, a generational talent shows up and generates unprecedented levels of viewing. Your attendance soars and your ratings treble. For the first time ever, mainstream sports fans are paying attention, and your reaction is to encourage them to support your social concerns or go. That's not just bad business, that's organizational suicide. That's purposefully hurting your own success because you're more devoted to an ideology than to promoting the sport. The WNBA has spent years moaning about lack of coverage, lack of respect, lack of funding. And they are gatekeeping now that they have it at last. Based on political affiliation, who is permitted to be a fan? It is quite perplexing. Fans are sick and
tired of being called racist. People are fed up. Fed up. That's wild. It's crazy. Stephanie White has single-handedly ruined and diminished the
fan base of Fever. The worst part is still to come. According to Stephanie White, You're not a WNBA fan if you're online critiquing what you're witnessing, pointing out the double standards, or expressing frustration with the incessant political message. You're merely advancing polarizing agendas through the league. Take a moment to consider that. The fans that showed up and tripled the ratings are being accused of using the league, not supporting it, not investing in it, not spending money on tickets and stuff, utilizing it. The mental gymnastics necessary to frame things that way is Olympic level. 2/3 of your current audience is new. Those new admirers are here because of Caitlin Clark. And instead of greeting them, instead of saying, "We're delighted you're here, let us show you what this league has to offer," the message is, "You're not true fans, and we don't want you here unless you agree with our views." What other professional sports league runs this way? Is it possible for the NFL to warn conservative supporters that they are not welcome? Can you picture the NBA telling you to quit watching if you don't support every social cause they promote? These leagues know that alienating a significant percentage of your prospective audience is bad business, thus that doesn't happen. However, Stephanie White just made it very evident that the WNBA is different. Being correct is more important to them than being successful. Instead of expanding the sport, they would prefer to uphold ideological purity. Instead of helping the current player who is truly leading the league, they would want to shield former players from rival teams. You can learn all you need to know about Caitlin Clark's priorities from her failure to keep her relationship with Alyssa Thomas apart from her obligations. Alyssa Thomas, who she coached, won a title alongside her. That's her girl, and when it comes to defending the player who is truly on her squad, Trump's personal allegiance takes precedence over anything else. I will be honest. And you're religious. Here's what makes this so frustrating for the new fans that showed up to support Caitlin Clark. They are being informed that they are the issue. They're being characterized as nasty, racist, homophobic, simply for wanting to enjoy basketball without the incessant political propaganda. And look, let's be completely clear about something. There are undoubtedly poisonous individuals on the internet. There are undoubtedly people sending vile texts that cross every line. That behavior is inappropriate regardless of who it's intended toward. That is not being defended by anyone. But Stephanie White isn't making that distinction. She's using the widest brush she can. You are contributing to the issue if you are a new admirer of Caitlin Clark and don't want to hear about social activism at every press conference. You're adding to the poisoning. You're not a real WNBA fan. Not only is that unfair, it is foolish from a strategic standpoint. Telling most of your current audience that they're not welcome won't help you develop a long-lasting fan base. A league does not expand through political ideology-based gatekeeping. By alienating those who are genuinely investing in your product, you do not safeguard your investment. The WNBA has positioned itself as the League of Social Justice, and that's their right, but they can't have it both ways. They can't develop their image around activism for decades and then be shocked when supporters of a particular player don't care about the rest of the package. The fan base of Caitlin Clark is varied. People from all political perspectives are represented, but a sizable percentage come from regions and demographics that disagree with the WNBA's desired political viewpoints. And the league views that as pollution that must be denounced and rejected rather than as a chance to use sports to heal divisions. Stephanie White might have utilized this time to unite. She might have stated, "We're thankful for all of our fans, both new and old, and while we continue to be committed to social causes, we're primarily here to play great basketball and put on a great show." That would have been the wise play. The inclusive play would have been that. Rather, she drew a line. She clarified that if you disagree with the entire really, you're not welcome. The fans she just alienated are the same ones that are actually attending and watching, therefore that will have repercussions. They're the ones driving the ratings that are supposed to justify better salary and increased investment in the league. When those fans